Hello and welcome to my channel, I Win to Lose Gaming. Large hat enthusiasts rejoice, as the Wanderer has finally descended upon us. In today's video, we'll be taking a look at how good the Wanderer is at Constellation 0 with a couple free-to-play accessible different 4-star weapons. Scaramouche was introduced in Genshin Impact near the game's release, and since then, many have anticipated him and his hat to finally becoming a playable character. This young-looking lad has some extreme mommy issues. This video will showcase his solo damage, team damage, a nuke showcase, Abyss 12, and of course be sure to stay till the end to hear my honest opinions about him. But really quick, it's time to pay some bills. And today's sponsor is the Ridge Wallet. The holiday season is here, and that means it's time to rack your brain for the best gift to gift your fellow giftees. And Ridge Wallets are the perfect gift for that role. Fun fact, I owned a Ridge Wallet prior to them asking to be a sponsor. Level up your wallet's elemental skill, card containment system, as the Ridge Wallet can hold up to 12 cards effortlessly and super compactly. And the Ridge Wallet's elemental burst, Cash Strapper, can crowd control a ton of cash on the front as well. There are over 30 designs of Ridge Wallets to choose from, and the Ridge key case can hold and also neatly contain up to 6 keys. Ridge Wallets and key cases have power crept the wallet and key meta. So if you want to keep up with modern wallet mechanics and key capabilities, Ridge is the perfect product for you. And now's the best time to stylishly and pragmatically wield your Ridge wallet. Get the best offer by going to ridge.com/iwintolose to save up to 40% through December 22nd. Again, that's ridge.com/iwintolose for some massive savings. Huge thanks to the Ridge wallet for sponsoring today's video. My Wanderer will be using a couple different builds in this video. We'll be starting off with the Dodoko Tales and the new 4-piece artifact set, the Desert Pavilion Chronicle. Being a completely new dungeon, and with the very limited amount of time I've had, I've spent only around 8,000 resin on this dungeon, and while his artifacts are sadly not great. He is of course at Constellation 0 throughout this entire video, and his talents are also only at 9, 6, and 6. So keep in mind that my Wanderer has quite a lot of room to grow through his artifacts and talent levels. So let's finally move on to showcase his large hat in action. Starting with his normal attacks, Yuban Meigin, the Wanderer has 3 parts to his normal attack string, and the third slash hits twice. His charged attacks are similar to other Catalyst users, and he expends 50 stamina to do them. Let's see how much damage his normal attacks do against our Regifying friend. Well, that was quite surprising to me, with his normals hitting for between 4,000 to 6,000 damage and his charge attacks hitting for 12,520 damage on crit. Wanderer's normal attacks, while on the ground, were able to single cycle the Regifying. There are a few interesting things to note about this clip. First, Wanderer is able to buffer into his charge attack from his N3. I believe he's the only character in the game to be able to do this on the last hit of their normal attack string, besides of course bow users, but that doesn't really count. Next, Wanderer's normal attacks did so well here thanks to both his weapon and his artifact set providing their full effects, and because his normal attacks are animo as well. Anyway, this might be the first time in an I Win to Lose C0 showcase history where just a character's basic attacks actually one-cycled the Regifying. Hats off to our favorite large-hatted lad. Up next is his elemental skill, Haniga's Song of the Wind. The Wanderer's elemental skill propels him upward and tragically removes his large hat. His elemental skill has its own independent stamina bar called Kyugoryoku points. While in the air, the Wanderer can do his normal and charge attacks at no cost to his Kyugoryoku points. The multipliers you see here work the same way as Yoimiya's elemental skill. In other words, it's its own unique multiplier that does not multiply flat damage. He can also rise extremely high into the air and dash very quickly through the air. However, both of these actions will eat through his elemental skill's stamina bar quite quickly. Anyway, fun hat tricks aside, let's see how much damage his normal attacks do while he's levitating in the air. Well, unsurprisingly, since he was able to kill the Registine while on the ground, he's also able to do this while in the air. When he hits something with his normal or charge attacks, he has a chance to obtain the Descent effect, which allows him to dash in midair without consuming stamina, and it shoots off these 4 anima bolts that do a bit of damage. Up next, we have his first passive, Jade Claimed Flower, which, if the initial upward draft's hitbox from casting his elemental skill makes contact with a swirlable element, aka Pyro, Hydro, Electro, and Cryo, he'll get a buff according to the element for up to 2 buffs at the same time. As we can see in the clip on the right, after he came in contact with the Pyro on our Registine friend, his charge attacks are now doing 18,673 damage on the first few crits, while without the Pyro buff, he's doing 16,872 damage on crit. We can see here that he got that 30% attack buff from the Pyro part of his passive. In this next clip, we can see that after getting his hat wet, he's able to stay in the air for 2 additional seconds thanks to the 20 additional Kyugor Ryoku points. As we can tell, the Wanderer's elemental skill has quickly wandered into our hearts as an incredible part of the Wanderer's kit. Lastly, we have the Wanderer's elemental burst, 5 ceremonial plays. It's a pretty straightforward burst that deals 5 ticks of damage, has mediocre AoE for an elemental burst, and minimal or even no suction power. It does an okay amount of quick damage, and very importantly, it forces the Wanderer to descend down to the ground. Overall, the Wanderer's burst isn't the highlight of his kit, although the animation might awaken some hat enthusiasts' desires to be stepped on. Okay, sorry, I couldn't keep a straight face when saying that one. Let's finally move on to the team showcase. This first team has him with a Sapwood Blade Bennett, a Constellation Zero Favonius Bow Farazan, and a Sacrificial Sword Xingqiu. Wanderer is already hitting for 38,549 damage with some of his charge attacks. This is honestly not too shabby given the team we're working with. Also, Wanderer works great with characters that need an on-field character to use their normal attacks, like Xingqiu. Unsurprisingly, this team was able to easily take out our robot chicken friend. But I know what a lot of you guys are thinking about. What about the Widsith? Well, I've got you covered. Let's crank up his charge attack damage by using the Widsith and the 4-piece Shimenawas. 'Thanks to the new gear loadout and Mona's buffs, his charge attacks are now critting for 87,100 damage. Quite an impressive gain in power if I do say so myself. But wait, what if we use food and against an enemy with severely reduced resistances? What if we have Wanderer beat up on his past edgelord self? 183,838 damage. Holy hats of hats. The Wanderer really had to conquer his past hat in time. And last but certainly not the least, we have the dreaded current Abyss 12. I decided to use the Wanderer in the second half of Abyss 12. He is using the Widsith plus the Shimenawa's build from earlier. His team consists of the same Bennett, Farazan, and now Toma instead of Xingqiu. Toma here is actually very nice for the Wanderer, as otherwise he gets knocked out of the air a lot by pretty much any stray hit that hits him. Against the world's most annoying Electro Bird thing, this team admittingly felt pretty rough to use. It's extremely obnoxious to try to fill up the team's burst since melee attacks whiff against it all the time. Also, the Widsith is super annoying to use in the second half of Abyss 12, as I believe the buff's cooldown doesn't get reset when you spawn into Abyss 12, or perhaps that was because I've wandered in the first slot. Anyway, I'm not entirely sure, since I don't usually use the Widsith in the second half. 12-2-1 is extremely dangerous, but the Wanderer's ability to levitate baits the Lava Turtle's into throwing slimes at you and missing every time, which is relatively harmless. Admittingly, his levitation height felt inconsistent, likely being body blocked by the lava trolls as sometimes they would still try to punch me, which resulted in, well, a reset. But when he is high enough to bait the slime throwing AI, it makes them quite a lot easier to deal with. The same thing happens with the Electro lava trolls as well, as they start derping around and throwing Electro slimes at you. All in all, a pretty hilarious way to deal with a rather dangerous chamber. The Wanderer really rose to the occasion. 1231 is the least interesting in my opinion. It was just a straightforward slugfest of beating up underpaid former underlings and a couple of desert folks. This Wanderer team completed 1212 in 71 seconds, 1222 in 74 seconds, and 123 in 62 seconds, all within the recommended 90-second clear times. Alright, so let's talk a bit more about Wanderer and my honest opinions about him. I need to point out that I really struggled with using him in the top half of Abyss 12, especially without any other 5-star characters. The top half needs a ton of grouping, a ton of AoE damage, and a ton of single target damage. It also discourages the use of shields as well, which makes the Wanderer get knocked out of the air by all the random garbage in the top half. All this makes it very difficult to use the Wanderer effectively in the top half of Abyss 12. However, he was much better in the bottom half, derping lava troll AIs, although I did have to retry the annoying electro bird thing many times. So what do I think about the Wanderer? He feels surprisingly powerful and also not at the same time. Allow me to explain. The Wanderer's base damage is great. He's one of the few characters that does the correct element's damage without needing to alter his state through a skill or burst. Using his skill just increases that damage even more. Unfortunately, the Wanderer also lacks any grouping capabilities and is easily interrupted. He feels a bit clunky to use as well, having some RNG dash mechanics that will either sap his stamina very quickly or be completely free to use if you're passive procs. Perhaps I just need a bit more time to commit certain desired results to muscle memory. For exploration purposes, while he's a lot of fun to use, since he's not able to use his elemental skill in midair, this limits him a lot more than I would like. My first impression of him is that he's quite good and has a great baseline of power. However, if you're looking for something to push you through the top half of the current Abyss 12, the Wanderer is unlikely to help you much with that, but for the bottom half, he feels great to use there. Anyway, let me know what you think about our hat-donning, living embodiment of the Oedipus complex, Wanderer, down below. Also, I regularly make Genshin Impact videos, ranging from Caesar showcases, DPS showdowns, guide videos, and more. So be sure to smash the subscribe button, as it's the best and easiest way for you to support my work. Also, don't forget to like the video and leave a comment for the YouTube algorithm. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. This is I Win to Lose, signing out.